Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. To get the coverage you need, call the number on the screen now.
Turnpike Sports Book Report.
And the Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casinos now, your favorite sports book available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E, and you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and 20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, we got a couple new types of entries into this week's book report.
No, not revenue figures.
Lots of
revenue figures came out.
We have revenue figures.
I was thinking this was a revenue figure kind of book report.
We have revenue figures. We have legislation. We have launches. We have the two new things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about one of them right off the top here is responsible gaming.
Okay.
The NHL and the American Gaming Association have announced a partnership to promote responsible gaming activity through the American Gaming Association's Have a Game Plan, Bet Responsibly program. That's a big thing nowadays, responsible gaming. I know a lot of states are worried about problem gambling.
Yep.
UK is experiencing a huge problem with problem gambling. I guess that's redundant.
Problem gambling.
That's redundant a little bit. But they're having issues with that, and they're doing everything possible to create programs to educate the bettors on how to bet smartly.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, sports betting is new to a lot of people, with a lot of states coming online with sports betting. And
in the United States.
Yeah, in the United States. And, I think people, it can be a fun activity, but you know what? It has to be done responsibly and safely. And certainly I think what the American Gaming Association and now the NHL is doing a great thing to educate people.
Well, the NHL is going to make available commercial inventory in terms of video board images, public address announcements, animations that are hockey-specific.
All right.
To get people to actually learn how to bet smarter as well as not betting in some instances.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of issues about people just betting and betting and betting and betting. So, this is nice to see. They're also the league is also going to make available creatives and other market-specific inventory available to the individual teams.
Sure.
So they can do it for their individual, the team fans anyway.
Okay.
Not just a league-wide effort, but it's a team-wide effort too. This is the second responsible gaming deal that the American Gaming Association has. It's the second it's the second major league sport too.
Okay.
NASCAR already did this.
That's right. I
has been doing it.
I kind of remember the news story a couple months ago. Yeah, sure. It's been a couple months, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They announced the partnership with the NASCAR.
Actually, it was in September.
Mid-September.
About 2 months. Month and a half.
Give or take. But it's nice to see. Good to see, too, because I think it's necessary.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it's a new activity, and people have to be educated on the do's and don'ts of responsible gambling, and I think they're doing a great thing. Because
that statement leads right into the new category. Obviously, we're going to be talking about every so often, because I'm seeing these pop up a lot. A lot of the illegal activities that are being caught by the gaming commissions and the states, fraud, sports betting schemes, all that stuff. And we got two to talk about.
Okay. All right.
Let's talk about the Utah one first, because
Utah.
The name of the company should have been a clue to these people that they were getting ripped off. The name of the company is Syndicate Software.
Syndicate Software.
I just don't like that phrase, syndicate.
Yeah, well, I guess it has some bad connotations, but what?
A Utah man has.
Were they found guilty, or
a Utah man has pleaded guilty?
Has pled guilty
to taking part in an allegedly fraudulent multi-million-dollar athletic wagering software scheme.
Wow.
Boy. This guy claimed he had created software to beat the house, and he was seeking investors, and what the investors would get in return for their money would be 10% of the weekly winnings, that their money would be used through this software to make money off sports betting.
So they weren't investing in the company; they were
betting.
They were betting. Okay, they were betting.
They were betting through software. Put it that way. This was basically a Ponzi scheme.
So did this guy even have software?
No software.
No, okay, no software. All right.
And also, he was using the money for his own purposes as well as placing his own bets.
All right.
And he was using some of the money to hedge these bets.
All right.
So
he pled guilty to this, huh?
He pled guilty. He's facing 10 years in prison.
Wow.
Let's see. He even had
I'm assuming he's
going
to have to pay back the people he defrauded.
If he can.
Well, he probably can't. I mean, this is like a Madoff thing, huh?
Yeah. He was taking investors on one side and putting their money on bets and, keeping whatever and using it.
Wow. Okay.
So that was one individual who had I have to admit, very unique sports betting scheme, claiming he had software that other companies wanted to buy. You invest in the software, technically. I'll use your money to place bets with this software, and you keep the winnings every week. So that was the basic gist of that scheme.
Okay.
The other one happened in Illinois, and it involved a famous name. Not the actual persons whose name was involved, but the brother of Brian Urlacher. Chicago
this was
Bears
in the news
player.
a lot. Yeah, this was in the news a lot.
It took a long time to get to this point, but the main person running it, Gino Del Guidici, nice Italian name there, he pled guilty to acting as a runner for a gambling ring. Now, this guy led to the actual person running this gambling ring, which was his son.
Wow.
He turned his son in.
So this guy pled guilty and testified and flipped on his son or
Exactly.
something? Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, this gambling ring raked in millions of dollars from Chicago area.
So this guy, the father pled guilty.
The father was a runner for the son. The son was running an illegal betting ring.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. One of the other people involved, and why Brian Urlacher's name keeps getting involved with this is because of his brother, Casey Urlacher.
Yeah, he's some politician out there, isn't he?
He's the mayor of a town.
Oh, okay. He's a mayor.
Yeah. So he pled guilty also to being a runner as well for this. And what they were doing, the son, Vincent, who was the son of Gino, he was basically using an offshore betting site and taking money from Chicago area bettors, using their betting. He was basically a bookie using an offshore site.
Okay.
Which is illegal.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't use an offshore, unlicensed site in this country.
They were using a Costa Rica-based sports book, and they were paying the sports book a service fee to use the platform for their, I guess, a private group of sports betting.
Wow.
They recruited gamblers, and Casey Urlacher pleaded guilty to being a runner and bringing in players to this ring.
Yeah, I got it. These schemes, these two schemes we were talking about. Yeah, the gambling business in this country is the most heavily regulated field or area of business in this country. I mean, it's just ridiculous that these guys are trying stuff like this. I mean, gaming regulators are out there every day. I mean, they know what to look for, and I can't believe people are still actually trying this.
Well, a lot of the online...
with legal sports betting in this country comes a lot more regulation and a lot more investigative
Which is why they go offshore. Which is why they go offshore.
Well, they're going offshore, though.
Yeah. And a lot of the legal sports books in the United States also have the statement in their terms and agreements that you promise not to place a bet for somebody else through your account.
Sure.
Which is what this guy was doing on this offshore sports book for all these gamblers that he brought in.
Chances are, too, if you're betting with an offshore account, it's going to be tough to get your money back if there's a problem.
If it's a reputable site still.
I still wouldn't do it.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do it either. I mean,
that's crazy.
So those are the two new types of entries for the sports book. Basically a blotter.
Okay.
The responsible gaming thing, NHL with the AGA, and also the two sports betting schemes. Let's get back to the normal book stuff.
Okay.
We got some revenue numbers to report. Colorado has continually impressed people.
And certainly in September they did very well.
They brought in a handle of $207.6 million. That's up 60% from the August numbers of this year.
Now, this is the first time they broke the $200 million mark, right?
Yep.
All right.
This is up 60%. Mobile betting accounted for 98% of the total handle.
That's why I can't believe that some states don't have mobile sports betting. They see how great it is. They see that people love it, that people want it, and I don't know why they're not just jumping on the online sportsbook bandwagon.
And they only had a revenue of $4 million.
That's a lot of smart bettors.
Yep.
Out in Colorado.
Well, and the taxable revenue was even lower than that.
Yeah, well,
Because you got to get rid of the promo credits and everything
apparently
else.
there's some smart and responsible bettors out in Colorado. Good for them.
And again, I said this last week. I think I said it the week before. Now that we have Tennessee coming on with a mandatory 10% hold,
Yeah.
I always look at the hold numbers, 2% hold.
Yep.
The biggest sport was baseball in September.
Makes sense.
$47.1 million in handle. American football, I like how they phrase that in the press release, professional American football, NFL. They had $38.6 million in handle, and basketball came in with $37.7 million. No table tennis.
No, good.
Thank God.
Good.
Arkansas. We don't talk about Arkansas enough. No one does. All three sports books in the state were open. Last month, they only had one open. The handle for September was $3.95 million for all three sports books, about a 292% increase from August.
Sure.
In terms of handle. That makes sense because there's three books. It's three times as much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's it shows that people in Arkansas like their sports betting.
Yep.
They only have three sports books, but they're making the most of them.
And net win was $397,000. That was almost 500% increase from August.
Mm-hmm.
And each of the three casinos brought in up around maybe 10 to 13% increase from the month before or from previous reported numbers. Oakland Park, which was the only one opened in August, was up 13%. They had $1.14 million in handle, and in August they had just over $1 million in handle. So Arkansas is getting back on track as well. Mississippi. The handle in Mississippi was $52 million. That's over $11 million more than August of 2020 here.
Okay.
August had $40.4 million. Remember, there's no online betting in Mississippi.
I know.
A lot of people forget that.
It just, it's one of the states. I think you're going to be talking about another state that, should have online sports betting but doesn't. But, Mississippi can probably triple that if they went online. But, politicians are going to do their thing.
Well, they want to run it that way. That's fine.
Yeah,
They had a revenue of $6.5 million. That's up 76% from August and up 17% of September of last year. So we're seeing some growth again. In Mississippi, football was the most bet on sport. They had $22.3 million wagered on there, and basketball had $11.3 million. Again, I'm not seeing table tennis anywhere in these numbers, which is
no table tennis or darts.
The normalization of.
Almost feels like it's back to normal.
And New York reported their revenue numbers for the month of September.
Again, New York is another state that should have online sports betting but doesn't.
Well, all four commercial casinos, not the Indian stuff, but the commercial casinos, their sports books reported a total of $1.4 million in revenue.
Okay.
Which is nothing.
Well, like I said,
pocket change compared to Jersey.
Well, that's what I mean. What's happening in the New York City area, the big sports book is FanDuel and PointsBet over at the Meadowlands. But hey, you know what? I know people from New York are riding the trains and placing their bets and playing online casinos and online poker, but I'm not sure why New York is allowing New Jersey to get all this money. Being from New Jersey, hey, thank you, New York, for your money. But seriously, if you're in New York,
Pennsylvania thanks them too.
If you're in New York, I'm not sure why you're not doing online sports betting. It gets money into your pockets, and gets money into the government's pockets, and so they can fund some important things in the state. But I guess all in good time. Hopefully, it's getting closer. Hopefully, it's getting closer for New York. But in the meantime, as a resident of New Jersey, New York, thank you for all your sports betting money.
And we've got two more states to talk about. We've got a lot more in the book report, which is going to be put up on the blog. Just head on over to turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button. You'll see what we're talking about and some additional stories. Indiana, William Hill launched online.
Okay.
They got the go live authorization this past Friday, so they're now up and running there. Iowa, DraftKings got fined.
Oh, okay.
Regulatory fine.
Okay, what were they fined for?
They had a late download of the self-ban, self-exclusion list.
Okay.
To the Gaming Commission.
All right.
Now, according to the agreement DraftKings has with the Iowa Gaming Commission, the fine was supposed to be somewhere between $5,000 and $20,000. DraftKings stated they were ready to do the $20,000 fine. The commission looked at it. They reviewed it. They uploaded it late to the commission.
So it was really a kind of a
first offense kind of
bookkeeping kind of mistake kind of thing.
And it was only a $5,000 fine.
All right.
So, also in Illinois, the remote registration extension was, or not extension, but the remote registration requirement, the lifted remote registration requirement was continued through November 14th. You don't have to go to the casino.
Yeah, you don't have to physically show up to the sportsbook to complete your online registration. You can complete your online registration online, which makes
the
sense.
Online registration
yeah,
online.
Right.
The mobile registration,
which
you don't have
sense.
to go to the physical place.
Yeah.
So that's it for this week. Again, go to turnpikesportsradio.com, click on the button. You'll see the blog entry for these stories as well as others that we didn't have a chance to touch with our time constraints here. So head on over there and leave comments or even get in touch with us. info@turnpikesportsradio.com is our email address.
And that'll do it for us this week. If you're heading out to one of the newly reopened casinos or sportsbooks, please be safe, and we'll see you next time on the Turnpike.